A few months later, um, I asked him how things were going, and I'll never forget what he said.
Mm-hmm.
My kids used to walk 5 kilometers to check their emails at a cousin's house. Now they are teaching others how to get online. And now you asked me for my proudest moment. That
Yes.
came in Brazil.
Hi everyone, welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, a podcast by Directors Institute World Council of Directors. Here, we sit down with global leaders, boardroom veterans, and future forward strategists to decode how leadership is evolving in a world driven by disruption, ESG, digital governance, and decisive vision. In a world where technology changes by the quarter and leadership must adapt by the hour, some leaders don't just keep up, they set the pace. Today's guest is one of them. With nearly 30 years of global experience in technology and semiconductor industry, Mr. Srikanth Munipalli has led billion-dollar program portfolios, driven innovation from inside one of the world's most iconic tech companies, Intel, and built cross-functional systems that transformed engineering and business execution at scale. From launching Intel's ISP in a box in a global emerging markets to leading the systems program management office for a 30 billion business unit, and now serving as a president of UVCE Graduates Association and guiding innovation labs for the next generation. His story is as inspiring as it is instructive. Mr. Srikanth, welcome to FaceTime with Leaders. We are so honored to have you with us today, sir.
Wow. Thank you for that really generous introduction. That was humbling and energizing all at once.
And
It's
it's
always
well deserved, sir.
it's always a bit surreal to hear your own journey summarized like that. Because while you are in the middle of it, you are just solving one problem at a time, building one team at a time. But hearing it laid out like that reminds me how fortunate I have been to work with some amazing people, being part in incredible environments and challenges that truly matter. I'm really looking forward to this conversation, not just to share my experiences, but to hopefully spark something useful to everyone listening who is navigating their own leadership path in this very fast moving world. So, thank you again for having me. I'm genuinely excited to be here.
I'm looking forward for this conversation as well, sir. So welcome to the show and let's get started. Mr. Srikanth, you've had a truly dynamic and diverse career. But beyond the titles and timelines, there's always a human journey. Could you take us back to the beginning? Where did your journey start? What values or moments shaped the leader that you're today? And how does those early chapters lead you where you are now?
Thank you for that thoughtful question. When I look back, my journey didn't begin with a grand career plan. It began with something far simpler: curiosity. I was an electronics engineer student at UVCE, drawn to how systems work and how technology could actually solve problems, real ones.
Right.
That curiosity became the foundation for a career that's taken me across industries, across continents, and across some incredible experiences from classrooms in Bangalore to boardrooms across the globe. But beyond roles and titles, what truly shaped me more were the early lessons. I still remember my first real project in 1992 at CDOT. It
Okay.
was an environment that felt a lot like startup. No clear
Wow.
chat, no playbook, just challenges waiting to be solved.
Wow.
And a team willing to roll up their sleeves. That's where I learned two powerful things: resilience and ownership.
Wow.
You don't wait for permission. You just own the outcome. That mindset has stayed with me through every role ever since. Then came my time at Intel.
Mhm.
That was transformative.
Okay.
I joined at a time when both the semiconductor industry and the internet was accelerating at breakneck speed. We
Right.
were just building chips, we were shaping platforms,
Wow.
reinventing user experience, and driving a change at scale. It truly felt like India's own Silicon Valley moment,
Wow.
and I had a front row seat. One of the major turning points came when I was asked with building the systems program management office for a 30 billion business unit. It felt like assembling a Formula One pit crew. High stakes, high speed, zero margin for error.
Wow.
But what excited me most was the opportunity to bring together diverse engineering teams, marketing, operation, and get them all moving in sync. That's where I really embraced systems thinking. Later, as I moved into strategy and transformation roles, the focus shifted. It became
Right.
less about how we executed and more about why we are doing at all. I think that's the
Right.
thing that happened.
Right.
I had the chance to work with some remarkable mentors. And one concept that really stuck with me was from Jim Collins' Good to Great. Great teams aren't built on charisma, they're built on clarity.
Wow. That's wonderful.
So, if I had to sum it all up, my leadership journey rests on three core beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
First, systems thinking, seeing the
Right.
full picture, even when you are deep in the details. The second is servant leadership, building teams that don't work for you, but work
Wow.
with you.
Wow. That's wonderful.
And third, resilience, the ability to adapt, pivot, and stay grounded through the chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And today, as I guide alumni initiatives at UVCE and mentor innovation labs there for the next generation, I'm more convinced than ever. Technology may be the vehicle, but people are the engine.
Wow. That's really fascinating.
Leadership in the end is about being isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about listening, learning, and helping others rise. I'm still learning every
Mm-hmm.
single day. If there's one thing this journey has taught me, it's this: change is inevitable, growth is intentional.
Wow.
Thank
Wow.
you.
That's wonderful, sir. And you said that your journey started simple, but I believe that some of the most exciting and great journey starts simple, and your journey is an example for that. And it's so fascinating hearing about not just the milestones, but the mindset behind them. So thank you for sharing that with us, Mr. Srikanth. So, Mr. Srikanth, let's rewind to early 2000s when you were driving ISP in a box for global markets. That was pioneering work, especially across BRIC nations. What was the most unexpected challenge you faced and the proudest moment you walked away with from launching a program of that scale and complexity?
Thank you. That question takes me back to one of the most exciting and unpredictable chapters of my career. I'm actually going a little more behind, more towards late 90s.
Okay.
The world was just beginning to realize that internet access wasn't a luxury anymore. It
Right.
was about to become a lifeline. But across large parts of BRIC nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, internet infrastructure was either patchy, expensive, or absolutely non existent.
Mm-hmm.
And so at Intel, I tried to do something really bold. Okay. We called it ISP in a box.
Right.
The idea was simple but very powerful: a complete plug and play toolkit to help someone, a small business, a rural entrepreneur, even a local cafe owner, launch
Right.
their own internet service provider service.
Wow. Wow.
It had hardware, software, business model templates, everything bundled together. And at that time, it was a classic blue ocean strategy moment. We weren't trying to beat the big players at their game. We were
Right.
playing a whole new game where connectivity didn't even exist yet. Now, what was the most unexpected challenge? Funny enough, it was not tech. It was context. I remember one pilot we were rolling out in a tier 3 city in India. We had everything lined up.
Right.
Tech worked, the pricing was tested, partners were excited, and yet things stopped completely. Why? Power outages.
Oh.
We were trying to enable high speed broadband on a grid that had 8 hours of load shedding a day.
Oh my God.
It was a very, very humbling moment. We realized you can't build digital infrastructure without solving analog problems.
Right.
So we had to pivot there. So we had to work with local vendors to bundle low power and low cost UPS systems. We reached out to small business owners, computer resellers, kiosk operators, and virtually turned them into micro ISP hubs.
Right.
We stopped thinking like a tech company and started thinking like an ecosystem enabler.
Right.
Uh, and now you asked me for my proudest moment. That
Yes.
came in Brazil. We had met a former electrician there. Using the ISP toolkit, he had launched a network that served 4 neighborhoods.
Wow.
Uh, you, a few months later, um, I asked him how things were going, and I'll never forget what he said.
Mm-hmm.
My kids used to walk 5 kilometers to check their emails at a cousin's house. Now they're teaching others how to get online.
Wow.
That moment reminded me why we do what we do.
What we do. Right.
This wasn't just about bandwidth, it was about unlocking potential and unlocking opportunity. So, what did all this teach me as a leader? Two things. First, system thinking is critical, but systems empathy is even more powerful. You can't
Yes.
take a global model and just drop it into a local context.
Right. Right.
You have to adapt, you have to listen first. Second, scaling innovation is about pushing harder, it's about listening better.
Right.
We started winning not when we perfected the tech, but we let local insights reshape the model.
Morning. Mm-hmm.
Years later, when I built the systems program management office for the $30 billion business unit at Intel, those
Right.
same lessons came back to guide me. Aligning cross functional teams, designing for both speed and resilience,
Right.
creating space for local autonomy inside a global framework. In hindsight, I think we were planting seeds of what later became the digital revolutions we saw with companies like Reliance Jio in India or Huawei in rural China.
Right.
We didn't just scale tech, we helped scale access. So, yes, we faced hurdles. We learned to redesign, readapt, adapt. But more than the metrics and pilots, what struck me was this: leaders don't just deliver outcomes, they design the conditions where outcomes become possible.
Wow.
And when you get those conditions right, innovations just don't scale, it just
Right.
sticks, it gets
Right.
embedded.
Right.
Thank you.
Wow, wow. So I just got goosebumps listening to that, the feedback that you got on that technology. And it's so wonderful. And it's so rare to hear about grassroots tech innovations at that scale. And from someone who was right there in the thick of it. And it must have taken different kind of thought of for doing what you did, and you did it successfully. So kudos to you, sir, and wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with us. So, Mr. Srikanth, you juggle product, marketing, engineering, and operations. and you've done it across countries, functions, and time zones. So, how do you personally stay centered? And how do you maintain both clarity and energy when you're right at the epicenter of such massive systems?
That's a question I have thought about often, especially during those high stakes execution when everything seems to move at once.
Right.
When you are juggling product, marketing, engineering, planning, ops, often across continents and time zones, it's easy to feel like you are right in the middle of a storm. And in some ways, you are.
Right.
But over the years, I have learned that clarity doesn't come from slowing the storm down. It comes from building your own stillness inside it.
Wow.
At Intel, I started a practice I now call my quiet resets. Every
Okay.
Monday morning, before the world floods in, I used to block my 30 minutes. No calls, no emails, just thinking time.
Wow.
I asked myself three questions. What must move this week? Where's the noise? And where's the signal? Who needs clarity from me?
Yeah.
That ritual became my mental dashboard. It helped me see the forest even while working amongst the trees.
Wow.
Now, was it always perfect? Absolutely not. I've had weeks where I was overwhelmed, chasing tactical fires. But in those moments, I would pause and remind myself of a principle uh, learned from my strategic leadership training. Don't just run faster, shift your altitude.
Wow.
So once a week, I would create a zoom out block, uh, 45 minutes, just go step back, ask, are we solving the right problem? Are teams aligned or just staying busy?
Wow.
Are we thinking long term or just surviving the
Yes.
short term?
Mhm.
So that discipline, not just to act, but to reflect, kept me balanced. And beyond frameworks and calendars, I have found the purpose as the ultimate stabilizer. Whether I was leading this multi-million dollar programs at Intel or currently
Right.
shaping the UVC alumni initiatives and driving the innovation labs,
Right.
never lost sight of this.
Mhm.
We are not just optimizing systems. We are building people, creating possibilities. Actually, that's what gives me energy. Even on
Wow.
tough days, and that's what keeps me clear, especially when I mentor the next generation.
Mhm.
Can be engineers, innovators, or future leaders.
Right.
So yes, the storm doesn't go away. Okay, but if your purpose is strong and your
Mhm.
principles are steady, you don't get lost in the noise. You help others also find signal.
Right. Right.
Thank you.
Wow, you've given some very good pointers for people who are, you know, who are in their career journey, and the way they can reflect upon how things are happening. So that's really really interesting, and then such powerful perspectives, Mr. Srikanth. And it's so reassuring to hear how clarity doesn't just come from tools or titles, but from intentional thinking and staying true to your values. So thank you for sharing your thoughts with us, and I'm sure our audience will really, gain a lot of from this particular answer that you gave. So, Mr. Srikanth, if I may share something personally, reading about your work with 30 billion portfolios and long-term platform strategies gave me a pause. So I want to ask you this not as an executive, but as someone who's lived this. How do you personally approach long term strategy when the technology itself might be outdated by the time you reach the finish line?
That's a very powerful question and a very, very real one. Because when you are dealing with a $30 billion portfolio or multi year platform bets, you are not just designing for performance.
Right.
You are designing for a moving target. And let's face it, in tech, target moves extremely fast.
Great.
Uh, at Intel, I often found myself building to 3 to 5 year roadmaps, knowing fully well that the underlying technology stack might shift 6 to 12 months.
Right.
You plan long term in a world that updates overnight.
Right.
For me, the key was this: don't build strategy around certainty, build it around adaptability.
Wow.
We use what I would call strategic scaffolding.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of locking into fixed specs, we anchored around core principles.
Okay.
Modularity, so components could evolve independently, ecosystem enablement and alignment, so
Mm-hmm.
partners could flex with us, and scenario planning. So we
Right.
weren't caught off guard, but prepared to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
One example, we once had a platform in the pipeline, beautifully architected, but midway through, customer usage models shifted from local
Wow.
compute to shared resources.
Okay.
We had to make the tough call to
Mm-hmm.
sunset the track and double down on a hybrid architecture that we hadn't even tested to at scale yet.
Wow.
Was it risky? Absolutely. But that move ended up driving a new wave of consumer adoption 2 years later.
Wow.
I often reminded my teams of something Andy Grove said: only paranoid survive. In other words, don't fear change, design for it.
Wow.
We planned with 70% clarity, but always left some 30% open.
Okay.
What the
Okay.
market, the user, or the competition might teach us next. Even today, when I mentor, I tell young engineers long term strategy isn't about predicting the future, it's about building systems that can absorb it. And in the boardroom, that same idea holds. You
Right.
manage uncertainty not by locking outcomes,
Right.
but by staying anchored in purpose and agile in execution.
Right.
Because in tech, what lasts is not the product, it's the platform of thinking you leave behind.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. Wow. That's just brilliant, Mr. Srikanth. And the way you broke down the intersection of long-term thinking and rapid innovation was not only insightful, it was a masterclass in real-world strategy. And as I said earlier, anyone from the tech industry should really take pointers from this talk that you gave, and it's really interesting because I was also wondering what happens if something like that happens when we come to the end of it, the technology changes. What do you do? How do you manage? So that's brilliant way of doing things, and uh, it's really going to help people in the tech industry understand and grasp how to innovate. So thank you. So, Mr. Srikanth, we've explored the systems and the strategy. Now let's zoom into something a little bit more fun. Our rapid fire round. Just go with your gut, short answers only.
Got it.
So here we go. One word your team would use to describe you.
Data driven taskmaster. Though in crunch mode, I suspect relentless quite takes the lead.
The first tech product you fell in love with.
The Casio scientific calculator. Back in school, it felt like I was holding the future in my hands.
Wow. One book that changed the way you think.
One Star Revolution by Masanobu Fukuko. A beautiful reminder that simplicity, patience, and alignment with nature often lead to the deepest impact in farming or in leadership.
Wow. Your go-to productivity ritual when you are overloaded.
30-minute silent walk, no phone, no notes, just me and my thoughts, letting the noise settle and clarity rise.
That's an interesting one. If you could go back and give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
Speed is good, but alignment is better.
That's
In my
very
early days, I was always sprinting. Now I know real momentum comes when you bring people along with you, not when you are running ahead alone.
That's wonderful. So with that, we've come to an end of our rapid fire round, and you answered really well, sir, and really interesting to hear what you had to say here. So, Mr. Srikanth, let's go back to 2020, a tough year for tech across the board. Intel faced scrutiny over its 7nm chip roadmap delays. You've been in the room where strategic timelines meet real world friction. So I'm curious, when the roads get bumpy, how do you lead through it? What's your personal playbook when tech meets turbulence, especially in moments of public scrutiny or internal uncertainty?
Thank you for that question. And yes, let's talk about 2020. Because that wasn't just a tough year for tech, it was an extremely stressful test for leadership at almost every level.
Right.
Intel, like many others, found itself in a highly public moment of vulnerability. Delays in the 7 nanometer roadmap weren't just technical hurdles, they became symbolic for customers, for investors, and honestly, for ourselves. Now, I wasn't running fabs or foundry, but I was very much in the room where roadmap adjustments, cross functional tensions, and external expectations were colliding, often at full speed.
Right.
Now, how do you lead with that? I learned this. When technology meets turbulence, you don't double down on certainty, you double down on clarity.
Wow.
Clarity doesn't mean having all the answers,
Agreed.
it means being honest about what's changing
Right.
and anchoring everyone around what isn't. And that's where I always start, especially when teams are reeling. I remember one virtual meeting very vividly. Multiple stakeholders, pressures from three different time zones. Some
Right.
teams wanted to pivot the messaging, others wanted to buy time. What we really needed was space to breathe and then to act.
Right.
That's when I learned into one of my go-to frameworks, which is Andy Grove's idea of strategic inflection points. When you hit a pivot like that, the worst thing you can do is pretend it's business as usual.
Right.
So I said something very simple to my teams. Let's separate what's at risk from what still works. Let's protect the core,
Right.
but be bold where we need to shift. That helped reset the entire conversation. It moved us from blaming to forward motion.
Right.
I'll tell you something else. In moments like this, every function responds differently.
Mm-hmm.
Engineering wants time, marketing wants
Right.
alignment,
Right.
finance predictability, and the leadership team, they need composure with a clock ticking loud in the background. Charu, that's when I leaned most on governance thinking.
Right.
Not in a compliance sense, but in
Mm-hmm.
the way I end up showing. I mean,
Okay.
I showed up. Transparency over perfection,
Right.
timelines with built-in agility,
Mm-hmm.
and above all, holding space for disagreement.
Okay.
Okay, those months when we hold space for disagreement, we should also not be losing momentum.
Right.
Those months were intense, but they also reinforce something I carry even now in my uh, work with UVC and UVCEG. In disruption, people don't need you to be flawless.
Mhm.
They just need you to be steady.
Wow.
They
Yes.
need you to ask, are we aligned on purpose?
Mm-hmm.
Are we learning fast? And
Right.
are we building something that we will still make sense even when the world shifts again?
Right.
So yes, 2020 was tough, but it taught me that resilience isn't about staying the same.
Right.
It's knowing what must stay and having the courage to change the rest.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow, wow, that's such a thoughtful perspective, Mr. Srikanth. And I believe some of the things that you talked about would not only apply in your professional journey, it applies to your personal life as well. Like you talked about space to breathe, taking a step back and analyzing things. So that's really wonderful, and it's easy to talk about success, but it's in moments like these that real leadership shows up, and how you act in moments in such moments shows what kind of a leader you are. So thank you for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you.
So you recently joined Directors Institute and are now pursuing the International Corporate Directors Program. So, Mr. Srikanth, what motivated you to take that step?
Thank you for that question, Shahrukh. To be honest, this move wasn't just about a new credential. It was about an evolution in how I wanted to lead.
Mm-hmm.
Part of what pushed me towards Directors Institute and the International Corporate Directors Program was something Andy Grove once said to me and to everyone in the company. Success breeds complacency.
Wow.
Complacency breeds failure.
Mhm.
Only the paranoid survive. I have carried that mindset throughout my time at Intel, especially during high stakes phases like roadmap shifts and platform realignments. But now I see the same urgency playing out, not just in companies, but inside boardrooms.
Right.
Today, boardrooms are not, and boards are not just fiduciary stewards.
Mm-hmm.
They're becoming navigators of disruption.
Right.
Think about it. We are staring at the ethical implications of AI, the geopolitics of semiconductor supply chains, and the hard
Mm-hmm.
trade offs of ESG versus profit in volatile markets.
Agreed.
In that context, board directors can't just be policy readers.
Right. Right.
They need to be system thinkers,
Agreed.
people who can ask, are we building a culture that can adapt as fast as technology changes?
Mm-hmm.
Are we resilient not just in the market, but in
Right.
our decision DNA?
Right. Right.
For me, that's why programs like ICDP matter. They don't just teach governance in the abstract, they focus on dynamic oversight, on what the boardroom needs to look like 5 years from now, not what it was 5 years ago. Actually, I find inspiration in Indra Nui's approach.
Mm-hmm.
Leadership is not about authority, it's
Right.
about responsibility.
Wow.
That's the lens I'm taking forward. Whether it's advising a growth stage startup or shaping innovation policy in academia, my goal is not just to represent experience,
Right.
but to bring foresight to the table. Because if the next decade is going to be defined by AI, climate risk, digital trust, then the next generation of board leaders must be fluent in technology, integrity, and resilience all at once.
Wow.
That's the kind of leader I'm preparing to be,
Right.
and the kind of governance I hope I can help change and shape.
Agreed.
Because in the end, great governance isn't just about what you oversee, it's about what you enable.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow, wow. That is such an intentional shift, Mr. Srikanth. The way you've connected your operational depth to your desire for strategic oversight really shows how thoughtfully you're building this next chapter. And it's also very inspiring to see that a leader with such an extensive experience is still willing to go ahead and learn something at this stage of their careers. So it really gives inspiration to the upcoming leaders, to the young generation. So that's really wonderful. And thank you for that feedback for the program. And I wish you all the best for whatever you've planned for yourself in the future. May you achieve this, and you achieve whatever you are looking from this course. So all
Thank
the best to you, sir. And that brings us to an end of a truly insightful conversation with Mr. Srikanth Munipalli, a leader who's not just shaped systems but shaped mindset. From building global programs at Intel to now stepping into the boardroom with new lens, Mr. Srikanth's journey reminds us that leadership isn't about doing more, it's about seeing deeper.
Thank you, Charu. This conversation meant a lot. For me, leadership has always been very personal. It's not just about outcomes. It's about shaping how we think, how we show up, and how we and what we leave behind. If today's dialogue nudged someone to pause, to reflect, or to dream a little bigger, then I'm really very grateful. The future needs more mindful builders and courageous stewards. Let's keep learning forward together.
Wow. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us, sir. So, if you're building, leading, or even just rethinking your career compass, we hope today's episode give you something valuable to reflect upon. Mr. Srikanth, thank you once again for bringing such clarity, humility, and vision to the conversation. And to all our audience, thank you for tuning in. Until next time, keep leading with purpose and keep learning forward. Thank you.